Well, it's the dawn of a new year. Today is January 1st, 2021. What exciting it is to be able to start fresh and get a new perspective on a new year. Many of you guys are creating New Year resolutions and creating a plan for your business. Some of you have already started. Maybe you started last quarter creating a plan for 2021. And if you have, congratulations. I'm excited for you. Hopefully, it's the right plan for you and yours. Now, for those of you that are out there and you're like, haven't started yet, planning on creating our plan next week, and or maybe you don't even have anything on the agenda or on the calendar to create the plan. Let me tell you guys, it's really important to create a plan. It's really important to take time with your teams to create a plan that everybody can get behind and move your business forward appropriately. Going into 2020, we were like, just like every other business out there, we created a plan. We create a theme every year. And our 2020 theme was the year of clear vision. And I laugh now looking back at 2020 and thinking about this theme and how 2020 was going to be the year of clear vision, right? Playing off of the word 2020 and how that has to be perfect vision. And we talk about the importance of vision, and we talk about the Bible says where there's no vision, the people perish. And so, I had an interesting thing happen to me halfway through the year as I grew more frustrated and more frustrated with the vision not being clear and this theme not being a good theme for 2020. And around the third quarter, I decided to post on Facebook, and I asked my people that I interact with on there, did they have a better year or a worse year than 2019? And there were some that said they had a worse year, but majority of people, the response was they had a better year. They had a better year than 2019. How? How could we have a better year in 2019 or 2020 than we had in 2019? With all the chaos going on in the world, with all the ups and downs, with the vision being unclear, and ultimately not really having a vision, how did we succeed? And looking back at 2020, right? 2020 has now become for me, the theme was hindsight was 2020. And what a better way to look at 2020. We look back at it and we go, how did we succeed? How do we grow through a time that through a time that was so rough where 2020 was actually successful? 2020 was not the year of clear vision, if you will. It was the year of innovation. Many of us innovated our way through 2020. But it did remind me of a time. It reminded me of a time my dad and I were in the mountains of West Virginia. And in those mountains, you can be driving and it'd be clear. And then all of a sudden you could hit fog and it could come upon you rather quickly, kind of like this virus did to us in March. We didn't really see it coming in the right way. And when it hit us hard. And so this story, my dad and I were driving through the mountains and I was about 9 years old, and the fog rolled in, and it rolled in quickly. It took us by surprise. And it was so dense, it was so heavy that we couldn't see in front of us. Now, if you've ever driven the mountains of West Virginia between Charleston and Beckley, or Oak Hill and Fayetteville area, that mountain has some dead man turns. It's pretty treacherous. And there's not any place to pull over. You just keep going, hoping that nobody runs into you or nobody crosses the line to crash into you. If you go off the side, you're going off the side of the mountain. There's no place to really seek refuge and to wait it out. And so my dad, being a very, very brilliant man, my dad is an amazing man, has a brilliant mind, popped the driver door. And he pops the driver door and he says to me, son, look out at the road. Let me know if you see anything, or let me know when the fog clears, if you will. And I'm scared to death. I'm worried about this whole scenario, where we're going, how we're going to get there. And boy, we can't see. I couldn't even see the end of the car. My dad slowed the driving down to just a couple miles an hour. And when he popped that driver door, he looked out at the line on the road. And my dad used that line to navigate our car. And I've seen my dad do this many times over the years, to navigate the car and give us vision. Now, we're looking forward, we didn't see it. There was no 2020 vision here. It was very dense. But my dad was able to see clearly to that line. And 2020, looking back on it, taught me that we had vision. And vision was still very important. It was the short-term vision. Every business has to have long-term and short-term vision. A lot of the companies I worked with in 2020, I cut their vision down to 1 week. In the middle of the pandemic in March and April, we cut it down to 1 day to 7 days. And we became laser focused on those 7 days. Now, did we still keep our 90-day goals? We did, but they were somewhat aspirational for us. We didn't know. We didn't know what would happen. We didn't know how this thing would play out. We didn't ever know when we were coming out of the fog, if you will. But just like that story, when I was driving with my dad, the fog cleared. And it cleared just as quickly as we went into it, and boom, my dad shut the car door and we were off again. We got down the side of that mountain and looked back, and my mind raced about, how did we do that? How did my dad do that? What an incredible thing that we were able to make it safely down there. And now, not all people had the wisdom to do that. I'm sure there were probably accidents that day, and maybe even fatalities. And 2020 has claimed its share as well. But guys, so many of us have come through and we've grown through 2020 and we've learned a lot. The hindsight of 2020 has taught us a lot of lessons. Looking back, we've been able to be grateful now for where we come from. 2021, we all want a healthy business. You should want a healthy business. You should want a healthy life. I've deemed 2021 as a year of health for us in our business and our lives. And so if you want a healthy business, you're going to have to know what could make you sick in your business. I have a book coming out soon called Is Your Business Sick? And it talks about a lot of things that makes us sick in business. And I want to make sure you understand what those things are and learning from history to make sure we have a great tomorrow. Some of the things that make our business sick is complacent employees, right? Complacent employees that become settled in what we do. I remember in March, I told Susan, how much money do we have in savings, and how much do we have in our business account? And do we have, we teach 90 days cash on hand for emergencies, and being able to sustain through our cycle of business. My wife's like, we're good. Everything's good. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And I did this to scare her a little bit, but I said, I want to spend it all. She's like, you want to do what? I said, I want to spend it. I want to spend the money. She says, why? I said, so I want us innovating right now. I want us scared. I want us to not be complacent. And now we didn't do that. I wasn't foolishly doing that. I was creating the mindset. I wanted to disrupt that complacency, if you will. And I did this with a couple of my integrators and even my COO. And I believe they hid stuff from me, like my credit cards and access and stuff, just so that I didn't. But the mindset I wanted it disrupted. I did not want complacency, comfortability during that time. I understood that it would be important to innovate through the hard times. Employees creating silos. This is another thing that makes us sick, where we get employees that when we go through change, they cross their arms, they buckle down, and they go, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on mine. I'm going to make sure that I succeed. I don't have time to help others. And this could be very dangerous in our business. This can make us very sick. Lack of accountability. When we don't have a system of accountability, we create a culture of control. And when we do that, we stifle growth. And accountability is healthy. Having the right kind of accountability helps our challenge the status quo and keeps us on our toes, and it helps fight that complacency as well. Not knowing your metrics can cause you to be sick. One of the things we did years ago that helped us a lot last year was implement profit first. If you know my good friend Dave Richter, he does great with this. It helps people, and knowing our numbers, knowing our metrics was really important financially. Josh Belk with Belk County has been there for us, and Marcus Krigler, and these men around the country help a lot of you today with knowing your financial metrics. But it's not just about knowing your financial metrics. It's also about knowing what? It's about also knowing your KPIs, your key performance indicators. How do we perform every week and monthly? Also, knowing your key process indicators. Key process indicators come from your process. It tells us daily whether or not the process worked. I regularly check with my son, how many leads did you get today? That's a key process indicator. Now, how many power days or clients he signed would be a KPI around key performance. How did he perform? If the process is working and he's not converting, then it tells me that I have a performance problem. So knowing these metrics helps us keep us in the game. Lack of leadership. One of the things I learned this year was a lot of you leaders, innovators, turned to your managers and said, hey, innovate. Why aren't you fixing the problems? Why aren't you doing this? And to a degree, yes, they fixed the in the business problems, but it's your job as a visionary to innovate the business. I asked a question the other day, is there any time an innovator or a visionary should come back into their business and work in a process? And I get no all the time on that. And the answer is yes. And it's when we need you to innovate that product. When the product's dying, it doesn't work anymore, the visionary innovator has to come in and innovate it. I get questions all the time about, like, shouldn't that be the integrator? No, by the very nature of that name, it's integrating. It's integrating your vision. Next, poor communication. Boy, we learned this a lot, right? When we had to go to home businesses and shut down offices, and we lost that communication. Zoom just exploded. Why? They allowed a system for communication. Having the right communication, having the wrong obviously makes us sick. Working more in your business than on it, right? We found a lot of times that in just this past year, a lot of our business owners that went back into their business and spent a lot of time in their business, even innovating, when it came time to come out, they didn't let go. They were scared. And guys, listen, it's important to go into your business and innovate your business. But if you don't schedule the time to come out and go back to working on it, like right now, strategic planning, you could find yourself very unhealthy. Broken systems, processes, ignored processes. Both of these things can cause your business to be sick if not focused on properly. And listen, there's a big difference between standard operating procedures. Procedures are not processes. Processes come from the procedure. Process is the high level steps in your organization. Procedures are the sub level steps of each one of those process steps. So making sure that we've documented them, getting it out of our head and on paper, and then removing the waste from those processes. Sporadic cash flow can make your business sick. When we have the ups and downs, one month we're on the mountaintop, we're at the peak, and the next month we're in the valley again. That can cause us to have a very unhealthy business. Out of control expenses. One of the things we do is a cash flow driver exercise with our teams to ensure that they are not having wasteful spending or out of control spending. Next is worldwide pandemics. These are the things that we've experienced in 2020, this pandemic that we're going through and still continuing to carry with us into 2021. Guys, what I have this as a placeholder because there are things outside of your control, things you cannot control that can make your business sick. But ignoring them, hoping they go away, and not making the adjustments in your business to navigate that mountainside when you go into the fog through things that aren't in your control can make your business extremely sick. So looking back, what did we learn looking back at 2020? Well, we learned that metrics matter. We learned that short-term vision is critical. It is important to have a long-term plan. Long-term vision gives us hope. It gives us the ability to pull out of the day and go, I'm pushing for this. It gives us purpose. Short-term vision gives us focus. It gives us clarity. It allows us to follow one course until we reach success. We also realize the importance of time to cash. Many of our businesses struggled this year because, well, let's just say it, rentals hurt our business. We didn't get our cash back in quickly. Some people struggled with turns and fix and flips and didn't get time to cash under control, the cycle time of your product. The importance of cash on hand. Although I was being a little facetious with my wife and my COO and CEO and my leadership team, I felt very comfortable knowing that we had cash on hand to sustain us through the hard times. The importance of having the right people became very clear to us in 2020. Having the right people, and not only having the right people, but having them in the right seat so that not only did we trust them, but they performed. We have to have people that are high levels of trust, but also high performance. The importance of having a system for communication, not just Zoom, right? But weekly meeting structures, daily huddles, communicating the KPIs and the performance of our business. The importance of having a visionary innovates. Boy, that was very, very important for us in 2020. The teams we worked with that thrived were teams that said, no, we're not putting our head in the sand. We're not waiting this out. We're going to innovate through the time. We're going to identify the needs and then push to a solution. And those are the things we learn. Now, going into 2021, I implore you to have a plan. Have a plan to either stay healthy or get healthy. Your business deserves you to do that. Your employees deserve you to do that. If you haven't already created this plan, take time to do so. Plan predetermined amount of time, lay out your goals, acknowledge where you need to go, and then never quit. Keep going. Plan ahead. Create this plan to keep going, guys. I pray and hope that 2021 is a year of success for you. It's a year of prosperity, but more importantly, it's a year of health. I appreciate you guys watching today. If we can do anything for you at the Sharper Business Solutions team, please reach out to us at sharperprocess.com. You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even now TikTok. TikTok, I'm on there. So if you guys want any of those connections to any of those platforms, let us know. But we hope that you have a great 2021 and you find it to be a very healthy year.